All right, thanks again for joining us today. I'm happy now to introduce Aaron Credba from the Fraser Valley Group. This nomination is a partnership between a number of communities, and I'll let Aaron, of course, talk about that. And Aaron, thanks very much for joining us today. Why don't you tell us about the project?
Perfect. Thanks so very much. So yes, my name is Erin Credba, and I am the Executive Director of Tourism Langley, which is the destination marketing organization for the Township of Langley. And as much as I would love to tell you all about ourselves as a visitor to destination, I'm here to talk about a marketing collaboration that we are so very proud to be a part of. So the Fraser Valley Group is a collaboration of Tourism Langley, Tourism Abbotsford, Tourism Mission, Tourism Chilliwack, Tourism Harrison River Valley, and Tourism Hope Cascades and Canyons. And as a group, we benefit from a collaborative marketing approach. Although each community maintains their own identity and destination website, we jointly created the Fraser Valley Marketing Program to provide visitors with even more reasons to visit our region. This collaboration began in 2013 and has grown to include a website, print visitor guides, social media channels, and shared efforts at consumer shows. This marketing model, we believe, fully embraces the concept of together we are stronger. As a collective, the Fraser Valley Group works with our contracted digital marketing agency, Connect Media, to share Fraser Valley travel information and trip inspiration. When the pandemic started in 2020, the combined communication channels assisted in sharing important travel restrictions and health guidelines. And when the natural disasters began in 2021, the collaboration became even more important. So our 6 organizations, along with the partnerships that we created, recognize that neither visitors nor residents stay in just one community. What impacts one of our communities has an effect on us all. When times are good, we share in that success, but when times are bad, we rally together. The Fraser Valley Group works closely within our communities with First Nations through many projects and partnerships, which helped us to become a trusted friend. One example of this is Connect Media's strong relationship with Checkwayon Village, which is owned by Boston Bar First Nations. The day of the Lytton fire in 2021, it was a phone call from the Connect Media team to the manager of the village that allowed us to start a relief plan. That call and partnership demonstrated to all a new value of tourism that will change our organizations and staff forever. When we heard that the Lytton evacuees had an immediate need for food, clothing, pet supplies, household goods, our 6 offices very quickly got organized and opened our visitor centers to act as a donation drop-off location, and all of our staff volunteered time. The donations were so significant that within hours we had run out of space, and we needed TradeX, who stepped up and offered to house all of the donations in its extensive exhibit space. So if you have been to TradeX, you can imagine just how big that space is to hold all of the donations that we were getting. So, and it was great because it was also able to act as a sorting point. And then what we did is we loaded up trucks and sent convoys of goods up to Boston Bar with what was needed. And just to paint a little bit better of a picture of when we say donations, the types of donations that we were seeing come in were nothing more than we could have imagined at all. We saw multiple pet food stores coming in, or pet supply stores coming in with bags of pet food and dog bowls and leashes. People were coming with truckloads of brand new camping gear. We had someone in Langley who went to Costco, and literally it just felt like they had loaded up their Costco shopping cart with as many clothes as they possibly could, purchased them all, and brought them in to us. We had a movie that had just recently started, or just recently wrapped, and they brought 12 wardrobe boxes of goods for us to provide to the residents of Lytton. And the one thing I also wanted to mention about this whole process that I think I had never really thought about was probably one of the most important things that we did was have incredible communication with Tukwayom Village and Lytton to know exactly what they needed and maybe more so what they didn't need. We kept really updated lists of what the existing needs were, because that changed over time. And we made sure that we were getting them exactly what they needed. And that did mean it. Sometimes we had to turn some people away who were wanting to donate other things, but we had to think about the amount of space that there was. And we really just had to focus on what those immediate needs were, especially at the beginning. So after the fires, our colleague Shannon in Hope Cascades and Canyons wished for rain, but she had no idea how powerful that wish was. In November 2021, a catastrophic flood rained down, washing out highways and trapping over 1,000 people in Hope. Portions of the Sumas Prairie were suddenly under 6 feet of water, closing Highway 1 and causing unprecedented agricultural losses. Chilliwack, who was caught in the middle, was cut off from all other communities. Hope found itself unexpectedly hosting 1,000 stranded travelers as highways 1, 3, and 5 were either washed out or flooded. And I'm sure many of you are familiar with the incredible stories that came out during this time, such as Hope Panago donating about 500 pizzas and other menu items to the point that they actually ran out of food. Residents opened up their homes. Some didn't even have power, but they provided shelter to those that were stranded. And we saw multiple helicopters bringing in supplies until the roads were open again. The other Fraser Valley Group partners also faced challenges and stepped up to help. Mission experienced mudslides, road washouts, and excessive traffic along Highway 7, which was the only viable travel route. Harrison suddenly welcomed float planes, needing to land on Harrison Lake as an alternative transportation option, and Tourism Langley provided information on hotel occupancy for stranded travelers and available farm space for animals displaced by the floodwaters. Each of our communities experienced a sudden need to not only quickly house people, but livestock and pets. As facility operators, Tourism Abbotsford and Tourism Chilliwack had to quickly turn Tradex into an evacuation and Chilliwack Heritage Park into a livestock farm. In every community, the frontline hotel staff became instant crisis workers and went above and beyond to take care of everyone who was stranded or evacuated. We know that our experiences are transferable, as unfortunately other communities in BC can expect to have a disaster visit their community at some point. Tourism organizations are no longer in the business of simply welcoming vacationing guests, but we may be faced with welcoming stranded and/or evacuated visitors. So a few of the lessons that we learned throughout both of these crises were emergency response planning. So the wildfire and flooding events have reiterated the need for strong emergency response plans at both the local and regional levels. The Fraser Valley Group has committed to refining our plans and ensuring that the tourism tourism continues to play a valuable role in emergency response. Volunteer management. So one of the things that became readily apparent during especially the flooding was the need to connect volunteers and those in need. And Tourism Abbotsford was able to connect an app developer that they'd worked with a volunteer group. And that created an app prototype that was developed in a matter of days and at no cost. Facilitating support. So during the flooding, one example would be that a hotel in Chilliwack recognized that there was difficulties being faced at a hotel in the Sumas Prairie, which is Abbotsford. And after reaching out, Tourism Chilliwack hosted a call between the Chilliwack and Abbotsford hotel managers to coordinate the sharing of cleanup supplies, a temporary employee exchange program, and even a Christmas party for the staff. So that was just one true example of how in a time like that, competitors can become allies during a crisis. And lastly, communication support. So again, with the flooding, the crisis, it lasted weeks, and the City of Abbotsford's communication team was growing tired from 24/7 media needs. So Tourism Abbotsford arranged to have their media partner as a backup to city staff in the event that they just needed a little bit of a break. So these are my incredible colleagues. And supporting us, we all have an amazing staff. The last 2 years have been so difficult for the tourism industry as a whole. Many days we all saw more of each other via Zoom calls than perhaps our families. And not only did we laugh, but we shared tears throughout the whole process. We supported each other, but we also received so much support province-wide. So when there was the opportunity, as we saw last year, for us to pay it forward, everyone jumped on board immediately and asked, what can we do? We didn't need to think twice. So what's next? Well, we are about to get ready for a strategic planning session. After the last 2 years, we have decided to work with a facilitator, and we want to revisit our mission, our vision, our values, our goals, and our objectives. It was 2 challenging years, and we really want to look closely at where we're going, what we want to accomplish, and the opportunities and challenges that lay ahead of us. The tourism industry has a history of being incredibly resilient, and we know that there are better times ahead.